Bellator 239 will happen next weekend, and we all know that this event happens at WinStar World Casino and Resort in Tuckerville, Oklahoma, and it brings 4 very much intriguing bouts in the main card, and let us cover them. The first match is the match between JAVY AYALA and VALENTIN MOLDAVSKY. JAVY AYALA, you all know that Fearless Fighter's Gym fighter has a score of 11-7 with an impressive victory over Frank Mir submission to punches in his last match. And the guy, well, he fought some really big names, you know. He defeated Thiago dos Santos, Rafael Butler, Sergey Kharitonov via punch, but he was defeated to Roy Nelson and knocked out by Czech Congo, Karl Selmanutafa. So you can say that the guy has ups and downs, but he is a devastating striker. I mean, he outstroked Frank Mir, it means a lot. He squares off against Valentin Moldavsky, combat sambo fighter with a score of 8-1, from Stary Oskol, Russia, world sambo champion and European former sambo champion. So meeting the guy who reached Rising World Grand Prix 12-16 final round where he lost via split decision to Amir Ali Akbari, well, it's a tough call out, you know. The guy scored 3 wins in Bellator. He is undefeated over Karl Selmanutafa, Ernest James and Linton Vassell, and despite the guy is not a devastating striker, I got to say, if Valentin Moldavsky takes him down, the fight is gonna be over very, very much soon. But on the other side, JAVY AYALA has good takedown defense, but his submission defense is a bit critical. I slightly lean towards Valentin Moldavsky, and the next match is the one between TYRELL Fortune and Timothy Johnston. TYRELL Fortune is having a score of 8-0. He is from Portland, Oregon. Very, very tough fighter, very, very powerful guy. He is in the Bellator since the beginning of his career in 2016. I don't even know why he didn't fight for the title yet. He defeated some dangerous names: Joe Hernandez, Giovanni Saran, Ram Pokrivki, Rudy Shafrat, Azuna Nyanvu, and this is the most dangerous foe of his whole career. It's Timothy Johnson. The guy has a score of 12-6. The guy is on a 2-fight losing streak to Vitaly Minakov and Czech Congo via punches. Junior Albini TKO'd him, so yeah, got to say, he is a former UFC name, of course. And now we got the former UFC name versus Bellator rising prospect. In UFC, he defeated Shamil Abdurakimov, Marcin Tibura, Daniel Omilenchuk, but he lost to Junior Albini, Alexander Volkov and Jared Roshkolt, which was enough for Dana White to sack him from the promotion. He also defeated Marcelo Golm, got to say, with a score of 4-3 in the UFC. He is not a bad dude. But now TYRELL Fortune is in the shape of his life, and he is very, very much an endurable fighter, but he only has 2 decision wins. Timothy Johnson on the other side, he had ups and downs on decisions. I mean, his decisions are good, he has good wrestling, he has good submission game. He is a former UFC name. On the other side, TYRELL Fortune, he has only 1 submission win. So if the fight goes to the ground, I give advantage to Timothy Johnson. I believe it will go to the ground. So maybe this will be the first defeat for TYRELL Fortune, but if the fight remains standing, well, both fighters are great on the ground, but I believe Timothy Johnson has more chances to pull out a win here. Now we got Brandon GIRTZ versus Miles Jury. Brandon GIRTZ with a score of 16-8. He is, well, you can't really call him a Bellator veteran, you know. He has so many fights in Bellator, and he defeated some strong guys like Michel Quinonez, Popish Martinez, Melvin Gillard, also Sadavad, but he was losing also. Derek Campos was too strong opponent for him on 2 occasions. Derek Anderson, Michael Chandler, and the majority of his losses came via submissions or injuries, and he was losing to decision too, so he's not a cardio guy, he's not a cardio machine. The other side, Miles Jury from San Diego, California, black belt in BJJ with a score of 17-5, a submission specialist, and a guy who really knows to finish his opponents. But on the other side, in UFC, he had ups and downs, but he had victories over Michael Johnson, Mike Ricci, Diego Sanchez, even Takanori Gomi, man, Mike De La Torre, Rick Glenn, and he was losing to Chad Mendes, Andre Fili, Charles Oliveira, Donald the Cowboy Cerrone, but these are big names, you know. And Miles Jury on the other side, Miles Jury has good submissions, but Brandon GIRTZ has also good submissions, despite he was finished via submission on a few occasions. I got to say that this fight is tough, and this fight is super tough to predict. So if you ask me, both fighters are very, very good, and I slightly lean towards Miles Jury, but it's very, very hard for me to predict, only because Miles Jury, I believe, has somehow better striking, but on the ground both of these guys are awesome. And now, finally, the main event of the evening is the match between RUTH and Yaroslav Amosov. Yaroslav Dynamo Amosov from Kiev, Ukraine, very, very dangerous fighter with a score of 22-0. He is annihilating everybody, especially in Bellator, where he defeated Gerald Harris, Eric Silva, and David Rickles via that Bravo choke, a submission specialist, North-South choke, rear naked choke, armbar, anaconda choke, TKOs. You don't want to go to the ground with that guy. Edward Lee Ruth, known as Ed Ruth, the purple belt in BJJ with a wrestling background with a score of 8-1, 2 losses, and he is the collegiate wrestling NCAA Division 1 champion, the former champion, Pan American BJJ champion, Pan American BJJ silver medalist. He is in Bellator for a very, very, very long time. He was defeating many of his opponents. The only loss of his career happened against Naaman Gracie via rear naked choke. But interestingly, he's defeating everybody via TKO. So against Yaroslav Dynamo Amosov, I hardly believe it's gonna happen, because it's super hard to finish him. He has wonderful defense, submission defense, and he has amazing submission offense. Unless Ed Ruth keeps this fight standing, I highly doubt that he will be able to finish him. So I give slight advantage to Yaroslav Dynamo Amosov.